All right, so let's just settle into our meditation posture and really try and get in touch with that place of stillness that we all have available within us, that we can access at any time we wish. So check your feet. If they're down on the ground, you can have them underneath on top of a little cushion if you wish to be a little bit more comfortable. It's really best if the upper leg and the lower leg, where your shin is at a right angle. And then your sits bones are raised. And this is probably more important if you're sitting in the cross-legged position, because you don't want to be leaning back into your sacrum because it rounds the back. So you want to have a fairly straight back, straight spine, but remembering we also all have natural curves. Shoulders are aligned with the hips and the ears as much as possible with the shoulders. Try and put some space in between those vertebrae. Just lengthen the vertebrae. Lengthen the spine. Lengthen all the muscles. The head is very slightly tipped forward. Just take a nice deep breath and relax. And bring your awareness to the crown of the head and relax the scalp and the forehead and the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, the area around the mouth, back of the head, the neck, the shoulders. Relax the throat, the chest, and the belly, and all the limbs, your hands, fingers, and feet and toes. And bring the mind to the breath and just notice the sensation of the air as you're inhaling and exhaling. And then notice if there's any sound in your environment, just allow those sounds to be there. So just try not to follow with the mind. We kind of like any excuse to get distracted. Sound, oh, what's going on? So just try and keep the mind on the breath. You can be aware of the sounds, but don't let that be your main focus. And then allow the thoughts to arise. Or just bubble up to the surface. Be aware of what it is you're thinking, and then try not to judge or criticize or get too excited. You can just be like an objective observer, like a scientist. Take a step back from your thoughts. Put some space in between them. Give yourself a break. And we just put ourselves on the bank of our river and just watch it flow on by. And while we're sitting on the bank, we're free from the river. And then just bring to mind all the people of our life. This is the meditation on equanimity, is the very first step in trying to practice compassion, trying to practice bodhicitta. It starts with this first step here. So we're thinking everybody equally is my friend, but we don't think like that really. So we bring to mind our loved ones, spouses and children, and best friends, dear work colleagues, people we have these really constructive, functional relationships with. And then there's those people in our life who are difficult for us, a little bit edgy, maybe we don't trust, don't feel safe. And then there's those folk who are complete strangers. So interestingly, and it's probably happened to you, they can, and they maybe, depending on our karma, our merit, they can change place. Regardless of that, we're all equal. Every single person, every single sentient being on this planet, in this universe, is equal in a wish to be comfortable and happy, and a wish to be free from any kind of suffering. We spend so much time trying to escape suffering. So no one wants it. No one likes it. Well, this morning I was clearing the drain on our street. It was full of leaves and twigs and things, and the water was backing up down the road. And as I was pulling all the twigs and leaves out, I found some worms, barely alive, but really happy to get out of there. So even a worm, a sentient being with not apparently terribly much brain, desperate to get out of that situation where they would have drowned. So we're all the same. No one would be happy in that situation. And then everyone has this capacity for this enlightened mind. So I think we'll do this meditation this evening for all these people of our life, by extension, all sentient beings, and remembering, and for yourselves as we move along our spiritual path, and remembering there is no negativity that cannot be purified. And this purification process is basically a psychological one. So we create negativity with our mind, so we can equally create positivity with our mind. It's just a matter of making a decision to do that. And then it goes from there. Maybe it takes time, but we have to decide first. So we start with the power of regret. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all past lives, and think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma, and we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. So having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future, and we cannot bear the thought of future suffering that we ourselves will experience. We know from our present suffering, it's not very pleasant. So logically, it makes sense we would remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So think like this. I regret from the depths of my heart, having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows because I do not want the future suffering, and also regret our delusions, our anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others, and think I'm sick of this suffering, and then think, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance. So we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has the methods that we can use to purify. So we're not asking Vajrasattva to forgive us. It's not about, needing a higher power to, give us some kind of approval. So we're actually wanting to use Vajrasattva's methods. So we purify ourselves by relying upon Vajrasattva's methods. So imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head, and you can also imagine this is your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of radiant, blissful white light. He's sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion, which, although born out of mud, is untainted by that mud, just like our enlightened potential, born out of our delusions, but yet untainted by them. And he has a beautiful, radiant face. His eyes are long and peaceful and full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. He has a sweet red mouth. His hair is black and held up in a top knot. His arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom. The right is holding a vajra, which represents the indestructibility of compassion. And their being crossed represents the union of these two, which symbolizes enlightenment itself, the development of infinite wisdom and infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So in order to develop compassion, we also need reliance. So we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we have harmed and those who have harmed us, by developing a wish for them to be free from suffering. So think particularly of someone you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then remember maybe someone who's harmed you and think that the harm they've caused you is going to result in suffering for them in the future, and have compassion for them for that. We make a strong aspiration to do this practice of purification for the sake of all these sentient beings and think I must purify for their sake. So now we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the actual medicine doing the practice of purification. And so we start with the body. And Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you have ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. And this pours out of you and disappears into space, not one atom left, as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawakama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawakama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawakama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawakama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawakama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawakama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Dida Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Supokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawakama Sutta Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. So be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified. Think there's no way you could do anything but benefit others now with your body. So next is the purification of speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and forcefully enters your crown, filling your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, which overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you just think that you imagine that all the gossip and the harsh speech and useless speech and lying and talking badly about others behind their backs, all of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. So again, feel so happy that your speech is now completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. So the moment they hear the sweet sound of your voice, it benefits their mind. You know how there's some people in our lives where you hear their voice, it just makes you happy. So you be that person. So next is a purification of the mind. And Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light this time from his heart chakra. And this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So it's just the same as when you walk into a pitch black room and you switch on a light. That light instantly dispels the darkness in the room. So the moment the light hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all the attachment and neediness and anger and bitterness and violence and depression and anxieties and resentment and jealousy and grudges is all instantly dispelled, not one atom left as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anarakta Meboa Sawasiti Mimpiyata Sawakama Sita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutsa Vajrabala Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anaraktam meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sata aham pe. Vajrasappa samaya manupalaya vajrasappa dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe. Vajrasappa samaya manupalaya vajrasappa dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anarakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe. Vajrasappa samaya manupalaya vajrasappa dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anurakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe. Vajrasappa samaya manupalaya vajrasappa dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anurakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of your own suffering, all of our own suffering, everyone, and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, and it's all totally gone, completely purified. And think there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness, and wisdom and expansion, and bliss and compassion. So next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And just imagine that Vajrasattva again very happily sends light and nectar, and it fills you completely, and it eradicates even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind. Om Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anurakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anurakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anurakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anurakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anurakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita. Dida meboa sutokaya meboa sipokaya meboa. Anurakta meboa sawasiti mimpi yata sawa kama sita me. Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan. Sawa tata gata vajramame mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya satra aham pe. Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Dita Mibawa Sutokaya Mibawa Supokaya Mibawa Anurakta Mibawa Sawasidi Mipiyata Sawa Kamasita Me Sitam Shriyam Kuruhum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahum Pe. So now feel you are completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. So really try and feel that that's the case, that that's true. And also even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. So now the power of resolve are really such a crucial step, this one. There's a determination to not harm with our body and speech and our mind, to refrain from harming. And we make a decision that this is what we want to do. Otherwise, it won't happen. So think of something that you've been working on. First of all, rejoice in your unbelievable efforts. Keep thinking about almost 2 years. It's just fantastic. Probably is 2 years by now. Really, really amazing. So just rejoice in that. And then, just think of something to work on over the weekend, maybe. Just try and remember as a delusion arises that you are going to try and counteract it. So just catch it. And if you catch it too late, that's okay too. Just be a little bit aware of what's going on in our mind. And imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wanting to merge with your mind, melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown, and think my guru's body, speech, and mind, and Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same thing. And so next Rinpoche recommends to meditate on the emptiness of the three circles. In emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand this teaching on emptiness, just place your mind there for a little while, and we can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. You can also think that perhaps the way things appear to me are not necessarily the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this purification to all living beings, and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. For His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, to the incomparably kind Tenzin Gyatso, I beseech, may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, O Tub Shu Jiang Jin Jam Gon Galloway, Tenzin Kyong Pelaway, Kunzo Dog Porze, Chog Sum Gurway Leg Mon to Drub, Pa Dog Sog Dulaje, Gondu Jab Ten Shog. Lama Ursul, Venerable One, to you whose kindness exceeds that of all the conquerors, for those wanderers in far-off places, especially the West, mindful of your loving concern for us in intentionally descending again into a family of a far distant land, we make this request. O Lama, please, please live long. Because you share a beloved teacher leading your students toward wisdom and compassion, explaining through exacting discernment the steps of the graduated path. You are the unequal guide. Please live a long and stable life. Okay, everybody, lots of love. Thank you so much for hosting, Alexis, and for Shayla and Michael. I guess if you guys were also trying to keep out the Zoomer bombers people, thank you. Because I really appreciate it, because you people who are hosting and trying to keep out the bombers, you're not actually getting to do the practice properly. So I do really appreciate you offering that service to everybody, keeping everyone safe. Thank you so much. Okay, everyone, have a good weekend. Have a safe weekend. Lots of love.